Gigi Berardi reading FoodWISE tonight, finishing this section on we need policies that support resilience. And I had previously talked about the Roosevelt administration's bold policies of support, real money support and technical assistance to tenants, sharecroppers, and other struggling farmers in the 1930s. There are so many ways for government policies to support resilience. It should not be difficult, for example, to design a resilience requirement for participation in farm commodity programs. Participants now should comply with conservation and wetland standards. Why not sign up for resilience as well? Resilience building steps to reduce vulnerability or risk could be more formalized in farm plans. County or regional farm services agencies could assist. Farmers could be required to show ways in which they are reducing specific risks from rising climatic temperatures, flooding streams, and resistant pests. Here are some examples. Where there are threats from urban sprawl and resulting in high land rents and nuisance ordinances, resilience planning might include taking advantage of markets and higher valued crops sought by new neighboring residents. Threats from flooding could prompt farmers to consider a change in land use from cropping to extensive grazing or certain permaculture practices. Threats related to large centralized sources of inputs, herbicide-laden dairy manure for organic farms, or large-scale improperly stored forage could be addressed by diversifying sources and types of inputs. Threats involving high energy use and extreme price spikes could prompt farmers to make a more concerted effort in on-site energy production and more self-sufficiency through energy conservation. Although U.S. agricultural policy calls for a resilient, in quotes, sustainable, in quotes, and stable, in quotes, system, policymakers' concept of what this entails seems to include perpetuation of an industrial model of agriculture, and it inevitably responds to vested commercial and political interests. The bias towards stability in agricultural policy and programs reflects an outdated understanding of how to achieve a system that can persist. More than ever, we live in a dynamic world of environmental, economic, and social changes and constraints that are constantly at odds with each other. Policy needs to change accordingly to promote adaptive change and resilience. And that's just it. Promoting resilience. Ever important, but never as important as right now with the COVID pandemic. And what do we see? And I've got some links to articles for you from The Guardian. Bad science, poor information, poorly informed policymakers. Is that not the second letter of our WISE acronym? W for whole, I for informed, S for sustainable, and E for experience. The I for informed and the E for experienced go hand in hand. Experience is very important, but in a sense, information is like secondhand experience. But, and we talk about this in FoodWISE, we have to be very clear about what kind of information we're looking for. I've been talking a lot about my own universities. So COVID policy and pandemic notwithstanding, we have a lot of challenges in terms of policy for our students. Quarter by quarter, it seems, instead of taking a bold stand and coming up with a plan for the entire academic year. Anyway, I include a link to an article, More Academic Doublespeak, More University President and College President Doublespeak. And I hear that students, at least in one instance, are putting together a website to translate their top administrators' doublespeak into an English that they can understand. even if it is in English that they don't want to hear.